Hey guys, I'm Sherry Burbach. I am an artist and writer. One of the things I love is when somebody sends me a card. Just a card like this. This is a birthday card. It's from my friend, Corey. She's got a note in there with her handwriting, which I love. I love when people put their handwriting in something. And I keep these cards because they mean something to me. Somebody took the time to choose a card with a message on it and to write it out and write a note in there. And now it has her handwriting in there, and I think of her when I see this. And the thing about these cards is, in this day and age, they're rare, right? I mean, we send texts, we write on social media, but taking the time to send a card like this to me is really special. And rather than have this card sit in a drawer, which, you know, I keep all these in a drawer and pull them out once in a while, but rather than that, why not have them be in a place of prominence in your home where you look at it, you walk past it, you see it, it brings you joy. And so I'm going to show you how to take a card like this and turn it into an art piece like this. This is from another card that I received, and I have different pieces of the card on there. I'm going to show you how to take these little canvases and transform them into something that can remind you of your friend. And really what we're doing with this is, you know, when somebody takes the time to send a card and write a note and choose a card that they know that you will like, right? Because people are doing that. They're choosing a card. My friend purposely chose a card, I know she did, with these flowers and these butterflies because that's what I love. So she's picking out this card and choosing one that she thinks is just for me. All of this means something to me. And then we have her note on there, which means a lot to me as well. So I put all these elements on here, and I'm going to show you how I did that. I take these and I place them along the doorway in my office. And I have it above my desk. I have it over the door. I have it on all four sides of the wall. So when I'm sitting there writing an email, you know, struggling, whatever I'm doing at my desk, which is not my favorite place. My favorite place is in the studio. Hello. When I'm sitting at my desk and I look up, I see things like this, and it makes me happy because I'm reminded of the fact that, you know, I have this wonderful friend who cares about me. And, you know, on those days where maybe things aren't going so well, it can make you happy. When you need a little bit of motivation, it can make you happy. That's what we're all about. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So I have my inspiration palette. I have my card, which we'll use in a minute, but for now I want to put the card aside and I want to get decorating on this canvas. It's such a small, fun size that it won't take us long to do. First, I'm going to start with this thick, flat paintbrush, and I want to get a base coat on here. I like the idea of this green because I think it just will go with some of the elements that we're going to put on here. And I just enjoy that color. I just think it's a really pretty color. When we're doing painting projects like this, it's really important to grab colors that for whatever reason you're drawn to and you don't overthink. I can't tell you how many times people ask me when they're, you know, I'm selling art in my art booth or at a art exhibit, you know, do you think these colors go together, or do you think this will go in my house, and all this kind of stuff. And you know what? I say, if you love it, then it'll go. I think you should always get colors you love, because colors make an impact on how we feel. And we might not even pay attention to it sometimes. So if you're drawn to a color for whatever reason, I don't think you need to overthink it. If you like it, use it. And that's what I'm doing with this. And I'm just using one solid color, and I'm adding a little bit of white here and there as I feel. Really simple, nothing too complicated. I'm gonna give this just a minute to dry. Now that I've given this a few moments to dry, you can see there's just a thin coat on there. So it's nothing, you know, we don't need to cover everything perfectly. Just kind of a thin coat just to give us a base. And I'm going to take some of these texture items. I'm going to start with the bubble wrap and take a little bit of paint. And again, I'm choosing colors just on what I like. I'm not over analyzing if these go with the green. I really don't care. If I like them, I want to use them. That's kind of how it is. So I've got this orange craft paint, and I use just a thin coat on this bubble wrap, one thin coat. And the reason you have to go thin is because you just want it to touch the tops of, you know, this texture item. So you don't want to dig in there deep. This has a piece of tape over it, so it kind of smooched all the way through, but that could be interesting as well. So I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm also going to take a little bit of white and put some on the edges so that it makes this orange a little bit lighter and adds, again, a little bit more interest. Once I have one coat of the paint on there, one thin coat of these two different colors, I'm going to press it into my canvas. I'm going to flip it over and press it in. Pull it up. Now, as you can see, this had the tape here, so it kind of didn't cover here. That's perfectly fine. This is not a project that you need to worry really closely about perfection. I mean, are there any art projects that we worry about perfection? There might be, but not the ones that I do. I like the idea of doing art projects that just allow us some freedom to play, because that's the joyfulness of it. So I am just going all the way around the edges of the canvas. Now you can reload paint on here and do it again if you like the design that this bubble wrap has left, and it is a really interesting design. Since I love shelf liner so much, I'm gonna move right to the shelf liner because I like that. And I'm gonna use this bigger one because it's really my favorite. So I'm gonna put a piece of, let's get a paper towel underneath this so you can see. And I'm gonna take my paintbrush, take a clean paintbrush, and I'm gonna use a different color, just again, randomly. I like this purple that I have on here, so I'm gonna drag it on, again, lightly. We're just using this as texture, so we don't wanna douse it in there. We wanna just keep a nice light coat on there. And once again, I'm gonna use a different color on this edge, but it's gonna be this red. So we'll have a little bit of blending between the purple and the red, which I think could be nice. So once you get your thin coat, you take it, flip it over, and put it on your canvas. And you don't have to put it on the whole thing again. I am going to do that, but you could put it on a certain piece or just an edge. So I'm gonna put it down, I'm gonna press into it, take it off. Ooh, look at that. I love the pattern that makes, don't you? How fun is that? Now I'm gonna go around again, because, you know, if you made the trouble of putting paint on here, I don't know about you, but I love the idea of just using it up. I'm that type of artist. I don't like to waste paint. At the end of the night, if I am painting and I have a bunch of paint like this on a palette, I will put it on my art journal. I'll put it on a new painting and get that started. I just really don't like to waste paint, and kind of putting paint like this on a new painting, for example, that you haven't started yet, it gives you a starting point then the next time you go to work on that painting. It's not a blank canvas, it's got something on it, and it gives you kind of some inspiration. So we've got all these different textures on here now, which I'm really loving. It's looking fun. And again, you can let this dry and reuse it for another project. You could apply more paint and keep going if you felt like it. I'm gonna put it aside for now. And yep, I'm gonna use this one more shelf liner, one more texture. Now, if you have a shelf liner that has one side that is raised a little bit like this one does, put your paint on the side that is raised as opposed to the flatter side. A little bit of a tip there. That'll give you a better, smoother texture. So now we're gonna pick a color again. And what's interesting is I've already got a bunch of colors here. I could add another one to the palette and see what works. I could add the same ones and get the repetitive, purple, which I like that idea a lot. I also like the idea of using green again and going over what we already have. So I'm gonna do that. Take a little bit and drag it over the shelf liner, thin coat. This is also a great project to do with the kids. So this is what the shelf liner looks like. And I've got the paper towel behind it just to protect it, but shelf liner, again, we flip it over and press it on there. Now you could, if you really wanted, you could rub it, you could do all kinds of things, but I like to just press it on, press it down, and get the paint off of there. And then lift. And this helps add another pattern and also calms this down a little bit. I really like that. But I'm also going to use a different color because I kind of liked it so much. I like the purple. So I'm going to do it with a different color. You can keep experimenting. You can let this dry and repaint parts of it. You can do all kinds of things. Oops. You can do all kinds of things. Let me get a different paper towel. Got away from me. Shelf liner on the run. All right, here we go. So we've got purple on that shelf liner now. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try and get this little edge that I didn't get before. So I'm going to put that down and then put it over the edge. And then it adds some more texture right in here. I'm going to do that again. Anywhere I feel there is a gap of color, press it down. And what have we got on this side? I think I could find a space like that. You'd be surprised how many applications you can get from just putting one layer on. So if you're like me and want to use up every little last bit of paint, feel free. All right, it's got a little bit more room. Let's do one more over here. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna let this dry and we're gonna do something else while that is drying. So I'm gonna put that to the side. So while this is drying, I've got my card and I have a scissors. And what I want to do is take a look at this card and see which elements I want to keep. When I look at this card, one reason I'm keeping this card is my friend who sent me this birthday card picked out specific items on a card that she knew I would like. For example, she knows I love color and I love butterflies and I love flowers like this. So she chose a card with those on it. And for that reason, I like these elements and I would like to keep them and apply them somehow to my canvas. I also love the fact that, you know, she has my name written on there. I love the handwriting that she has. I think it's so personable. On, you know, this little note, she's put a sun, a smiley sun, which I think is just adorable. These are all things that remind me of her. And I even love that she, you know, underlines words in a card. You know, she's just really special. So these are all kind of elements that I really want to include on this canvas. When I look at this canvas, I want to see her personality because that's what this card does for me. The problem is the card goes in, you know, a drawer and I don't look at it. I don't get reminded of it unless I take it out, and how often do we do that? But if I put it on a canvas, I can have it up on a wall, I can have it on a shelf. It'll allow me to see it in a different way. I'm looking for, on this card, just elements I want to keep to place on here. And I might not be able to do everything, but I like the note that she has, for example. Now, I could make a whole piece just with this note probably. And it might not even fit, but you know, just a note like this on one edge. I could break it up. I can keep pieces of the note. I could keep pieces of what she has underlined in the card. I definitely want to keep pieces of these flowers and the butterflies. So now that I have kind of figured out what I'd like to keep, the next step is just cutting this out so that I have some things to choose from when it comes to applying this to the canvas. And to start with, I'm just going to take the front cover off. You don't have to do this. You could cut around the elements with it still attached to the back, but I am going to do it this way. I feel like it's easier to handle. I have a regular craft scissors, so it isn't anything special. I think it would probably make it easier if I had a good scissors, but I have a craft scissors instead. And I'm gonna start with the butterflies because those are the ones that that's the thing that really stood out to me and something that I thought I wanted to keep. And when I'm going around it, I'm not really all that fussy. You know, I'm giving myself a little leeway here. So I'm just kind of going around the edge. I'm not gonna cut out the antennae because that is just too putsy and it will not transfer well. So I know I'm not gonna get this perfectly, but again, what do I say about perfection? That's not the point of this. And when I'm doing a project like this, where I just want to keep, you know, this card in a special way so that I can think of my friend, the perfection aspect of it, it just doesn't fit with that mentality. You know, I want to just keep as much as I can of this card. So if I'm worrying about, oh, this doesn't look perfect, or it's not an art piece like I'm going to sell in a gallery, I mean, that just, it's the wrong mentality to do a project like this, because what we're looking for is just the pieces that'll bring us joy, and beating yourself up over, you know, something that isn't done perfectly is not going to bring you joy. Now, if you're really attached to a card, like let's say it's from somebody that has passed and you really want to just keep that card in one condition, you don't want to, you know, cut it up, you can always make copies of it too. A color copy works great. So there's that little butterfly. Let's see what else we got on here. Now that I have these elements cut, I have the card, and when I'm looking at this card, I'm looking at the things I want to keep. I love that she wrote, you know, my name is on there. That's really personable. I love the little sun with a smiley face, which is cute. I love the message that she wrote in her handwriting. And I like some of the things that she outlined here too. What I'm going for with this is not really to keep the card itself as far as like the note that the card company puts in there, as nice as it is. I really am going for the handwriting and the message that she took to write. So I'm going to break this up so that it all fits. And I like this message. She wrote, you bring sunshine wherever you go with your beautiful smile. I mean, wow, I want to keep that. So I'm going to cut right underneath that so that that stays, and I'll be able to fit that on, hopefully. And I'm going to see if I can go around this cute little sun so I can put that somewhere too. And when I'm doing this, I'm really just cutting around the edges. I'm not getting too fancy, just cutting it out. I'm going to cut out that little sun, smiley face sun. Look at that. How cute is that? So I got that. And I love that she signed it, love you, Carol. So I am gonna cut that out. And I'm going really close to the letters because if I wanna break up the message anymore, you know, I can still do that. So I'm not cutting into the other words that are there. So I've got love you. Kindness and love, you are a blessing to me. Thank you for being my friend. I love that. So I'm gonna cut the you are a blessing. Cut that out. And let's see how I can get the rest. I might have to separate the my friend and add it with glue, and then we can do that. So I'm going to put that separate, my friend. Let's clean up this little edge. So I've got that. So I have everything on my paper plate that I want to transfer to my canvas. Now, if you wanted, you could keep working on this canvas. You could put more color on here, more texture. I'm going to keep it simple and move forward from this point, but you can keep working on it. Nobody says that you can't. And you can make it as detailed as you want. What I'm going to do is start putting these elements on here. So I have my Mod Podge and I have a craft brush. And this brush I'm going to throw out when I'm done. So I'm not going to worry about cleaning it. So it's just use an old brush that you don't want anymore. And the next step is seeing what you like from this card that you want on your canvas. I always start with the main centerpiece on this canvas. It's a very small canvas, so I have to be selective in what I'm choosing. So I really liked this sentiment that she wrote, and it is a little long, but if I tilt it, it'll fit. You are a blessing to me. Thank you for being my friend. That's lovely. She's also written, you bring sunshine wherever you go with your beautiful smile. I mean, that's lovely. Who wouldn't want to look up, you know, somewhere on their shelf and see these elements? So I like that. I could move this here. I like that both of these are just so sweet and lovely, and you know, if I saw them, they would really make me happy. So I like both of those. You can also take things like this and decorate the sides of your canvas. It doesn't all have to be on the front. But for this, I really do like this main sentiment. And I'm gonna have to be a little bit creative because it's a little long. Put that on an angle. So I like that way, and I like this way. Yeah, that's the way I like it. And if you like it, don't overthink it. And then I'm going to add these other elements too. I'm not going to plan out the whole thing. I'm going to get the main things on, and then I'm going to work from there. So I'll put this nice little note aside, and I'm going to get going on this one. So let me push these aside for now. And, oops, put some Mod Podge on the back. A bit on the front here. Press it down. Put enough on the edge so that it sticks. And position it so it fits. Get this next one. Lovely. Go over the top if you want. Hit this one. I just put a thin coat on the back and then attach it. I try and just go over the edges then. You know, this is something that's just going to sit on my shelf, so I don't need like, you know, to really adhere it as if it was going to hang and travel and, you know, go to different places. This is just going to sit on my shelf, and so it's going to be fine like this. So I've got these. While those are drying, let's see what else we have here. I have this lovely big flower, which I really like, and I kind of even like how it sticks up off the canvas like that. Isn't that cool? That's a possibility. I've got a smaller one that would fit on the canvas and not stick up. Got this butterfly. That's kind of cool right there too. Got this butterfly that could go there. I love that. Now also, if you were thinking, take this extra glue off. If you were thinking, you know, that you wanted to make some of this solid, you could do that so the butterfly stands out a little bit more. I kind of like it like this. I like stuff crazy with a lot of pattern. That's what I like, you guys. Here's a butterfly that can go. So many options. Got the yellow flowers like that. Then I also have these other sentiments that I've cut out, and I'm going to save these for the sides. For now, I'm going to focus on the front. I keep going back to just that, how it sticks up off the canvas a little bit, but look how cute it is. So I'm going to put it there. Because why? We don't overthink it when we love it. So I'm going to put a little Mod Podge on the back and press it down. Take the extra off. So I'll leave that there. This other flower could be nice on a variety of places. Could be nice here. That would fit right there. Love that. I love that butterfly right there. Well, you know what I'm going to say. If you love it, put it down. And this will stick out just a little bit as well. You don't have to have it sticking out. I mean, I just think it looks kind of interesting that way, but the next one I do might not have that. So you can make them all different. The way that I have these currently, all of mine, is I have them hung above my doorway in my office. So when I'm sitting there working on emails and orders and all this stuff, I can look up and see these, and they just bring a smile to my face. So I've got a butterfly, I've got a couple flowers. Where should I put this other butterfly? That is the question. Since I have the theme of things sticking over the edge, I kind of like that one. Let's go with it. It's pretty little. Hopefully it'll stick. Look at that. Within moments, we have transformed that card into something interesting and different. Here's the front of it. So this is all still wet, but that's the front of it. How cool is that? So I want to take the rest of these while this is all drying and just adhere them. So I like this Dear Sherry on the top. So I can see that. I like to decorate every edge of these types of canvases. And let's see, do I want that on there? It's kind of cute right like that, right? I think it is. I'm going for it. I think it's important when you're doing art to not overthink anything in the process. Our instincts are so good sometimes and we just don't trust ourselves. And I like that one there, so I'm gonna put that there. You know, we see something, we love it, and then we step back and go, oh, I don't know if I should do that or not. And then the process slows down, it gets different, it isn't in the flow. I've seen people even shop for art that way. They love it, they pick out something, and then they just go, oh, I don't know if it'll go, I don't know, and they start second guessing themselves. And a lot of times they tell me they wish they had just bought the one thing that they saw right away. So I've got that edge, which is lovely. And then I've got that. Now you don't have to put everything on different sides, but gosh, we've got love you on here. We have something that says as wonderful as you are and a little smiley face. I mean, I feel like maybe that should go on the bottom. Now I'll have to be careful when I glue this on the bottom because I've got this one that sticks over, so I don't want to place it down and bend that. So I'm gonna have to hold on to it so I can put that right there. Maybe love you, Carol, with smiley face. Yes, like that. Let's do it. So put that there. Wipe off the edge. Got a little sun. Put that there. I've got that. Now I have That's As Wonderful As You Are right there. I could put it on one side or the other, and why not? Let's do it. I'm going to put it on the right side, just because. Right there. So I would give this about half an hour to an hour to dry. And then it does take a few days to totally cure. Drying means that it's dry to the touch. Curing means it's really set. And the reason that I would wait with that, we've got some elements that stick over the top. We want to make sure that they're cured before we hang it on a wall. When we hang it on a wall, it might be over a heater or something like that. If it's not totally cured, some of these might come loose. So just give it a couple days to really get this cured nicely. But I love the way that this turned out. And I love the elements on here. I love that when I look at this piece, I feel like I see my friend. I see her handwriting. I see the little, the butterflies and the flowers that remind me that she picked out a card with these on there for me because she knew I liked these colors. All of that just speaks to me. And then having it on this kind of like mixed media textured background makes me smile because that's what I like to do. So all of this has changed from just a regular card to something that's an art piece that I can hang on my wall, and when I look up, I see it. And it's this subtle reminder, you know, if I'm having a bad day, it's a subtle reminder that I have this beautiful friend who loves me. And that's a really nice reminder for us to get centered again. Things like that that we see that are around our house that give us joy, and we might not even really pay attention to it, but you know that every time I just glance at it and I see it in my vision, I'm going to be happy. So I hope that you will choose a card that you love from somebody and do the same thing. And thank you for creating with me.